Do you want the true Western hunt experience? Book your hunt of a lifetime today with Highland Outfitters, LLC. Located in Highland, Wyoming, 50 miles west of Casper. Their location in central Wyoming gives you access to some of the best hunting areas in the state. Highland specializes in archery hunts for elk and antelope. Their operations include Wyoming, Texas, and Africa. Highland Outfitters employs some of the finest guides in the business. All guides are licensed by the Wyoming Board of Professional Outfitters and Guides. No matter what the species you decide to hunt, you can count on your guide giving you 110% of being the true professional guide from start to finish. Book your hunt today at 307-797-3311 or 307-797-3312. Visit them on the web at HighlandOutfitters.com. With Highland Outfitters, you will get the true Western adventure. Good evening, folks. Welcome to another episode of On the Limb with Nature's Voice Game Calls. Man, it's a fast-paced evening here.
I'm telling you.
In the studio. We was just talking about that. Good Lord. We got Dan on here. He's coming from Missouri. I just called him right up. He didn't even get a chance to talk.
Nope. Cut him right off.
Yeah, that ain't even fair.
Yeah.
How am I supposed to get my meanness out before this starts?
Uh-oh. We're in trouble, folks.
Trouble, that's all I'm saying.
We're in trouble.
Well, you know, that's the way it goes sometimes. So we got a good show planned for you this evening, folks. You know, it's turkey season. I mean, turkey season is about ready to get in full gear. Today's first day of spring.
It is.
Gobble, gobble.
Does not feel like spring. I mean,
It does not.
It was 26 degrees this morning. I'm sure them birds were staying on the roost. Yeah.
I seen y'all had some snow in parts down there.
Yeah, we sure did.
It was cold up here this morning, but it ended up being almost 70.
Oh, wow. Nice.
Yeah, yesterday we had a little bit of snow for sure, but it didn't stick, of course, you know.
Yeah. But, you know, this will put them gobblers back a little bit, so it might help us out during the season. So the second week is going to be the best week. That's the way it was last year, wasn't it, Dan?
That's the only time you can hunt?
Yeah.
You're hoping the second week's the best week. That's
all
why.
I got to do is take off. I'm ready to roll, baby.
Ready to roll.
Right.
All right, guys. So be sure you check out our new episode that's dropping to, our new episode just dropped with Mitchell Johnson, the owner of Dead End Game Calls. That was a great episode. We had a really good time with Mitchell. That episode's going to drop next week. Tomorrow airs the episode with the part-time hunter. So it'll air tomorrow at 7 o'clock in the morning. Already scheduled, ready to go out. Don't have to do no editing.
Yeah,
And
nice.
it was a good episode, too. And that was a collaboration with him to where he was recording live and we was recording at the same time.
That's right.
So his is already out there. Go check it out. The Part-Time Hunter podcast. Go check him out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcast. And then we'll have ours that's airing tomorrow. So busy weekend coming up again. We've got Summersville show coming up this weekend.
Nice.
We've got the West Virginia Bow Hunters Association banquet on Saturday evening. So we've got to rush from the Summersville show down to the banquet, be a part of that, stay the night, go back and pick up all of our stuff and clean up from the show.
Golly,
and then head home.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a little crazy.
That's going to be fun.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. You know, those shows are always a blast.
Yeah.
It's fast-paced, and, you know, you're going in, getting set up. Like, we're going up Friday morning, and we're setting up, and the show is at 12 o'clock. So,
Oh, my gosh.
show's
That's
that
quick.
day. You roll right into it.
Right.
Yeah. So, I mean, it'd be better if you could go up Thursday, but,
You got some help going with you to set
What time
up?
are you going in to set up?
yeah, we're going to leave here about 7 that morning, maybe 6 or 7. And
So you get there about 8.
Oh, boy.
we'll get up
I know
there.
how retentive you are. It's going to take you. You'll still be setting up by noon, Michael.
No, I won't. That's Rachel will even back me up on that. She backed me up on that last night. When I got something to do, I'm going to do it.
So who you got going with you to help you?
Rachel's going, Trevor's going, Casey's going. So
Okay, cool.
we've got all them, and I believe Brody's not going to be able to be there, but there'll be some other people that come by, and if they
Yeah.
want to help out, they can.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
Appreciate it.
Seems like from the way you talk, everybody kind of like,
Oh, it's like a big old family.
Yeah.
It's a family. Everybody helps everybody, man.
Yeah,
It's awesome.
it is. And that's the way you got to be. So
Cool.
All right, so let's get our guest on.
Yes.
He's got his show coming up here at 7 o'clock. So without further ado, please welcome with me Jeremy Critchfield, the Hunt Chef.
The Hunt Chef.
What are you crazy buggers doing tonight? I can't even keep up with all that stuff you guys are yapping about.
Buddy, I'm telling you, it's a busy world. Isn't it?
I mean, you talk about out on a limb. You guys are out on a wire. Come on.
You got
Well,
that
the
right.
room's bending a little bit there, Jeremy.
I guarantee it. Especially after the last. Did you say I talked to you earlier going to lunch? You go to that Chinese buffet? You might be bending a little bit more right now, Michael.
Yeah, well, I've already worked that off. So.
Yeah, he's really going to be fast-paced.
Yeah. But I tell you one thing they didn't have on that Chinese buffet. They didn't have no duck.
They didn't have no orange duck on there, did they?
No orange duck. Nope.
Hey, before we start talking about that duck, I was listening very closely to everything you two had to say there, getting in, ramping up the segment, bringing Dan and everything. And when he said, "Now y'all's in trouble," I wrote that down. I think I'm gonna make that a bumper sticker.
Yeah.
Now y'all's in trouble.
Now
There
y'all's
you go.
in trouble.
You got too close. Now y'all's in trouble.
Man.
I like
That's
it.
good.
I'll send my address for royalties.
Yeah, well, and then on that sticker, then you know how when the people attribute a quote to someone, it's like a little hyphen, and then their name, and I'm just gonna do "Now y'all's in trouble," and then next line down hyphen Dan.
Yeah.
Dan.
Yeah, there you go. Dan.
I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just Dan, not a
Dear
last
Lord.
name. Just Dan.
Just Dan.
I feel like I haven't seen you guys in a month.
I know, man. We missed you at the last show. We was in Morgantown. You was out in Iowa. You was
tell you
banging
what,
it out there,
I
tearing
miss
it
that
up.
kick. I miss that cooking. That's what I
Speaking
miss.
of being out in Illinois, so I seen your post, and I was getting ready to call you right when I seen it. You'd already.
Here we go.
I was 3 hours on my.
Here we go.
Dan.
I was
Were you
3 hours
were you gonna drop everything and come save me like a damsel in distress?
I thought about it. I sure did. I was 3 hours on my pursuit. I can drive 3 hours to save a buddy.
Yeah.
Oh my
He
gosh,
thought
that was a
about it.
mess. Yeah, we lost a whole wheel. Everything after the axle housing just went bouncing behind me and smashed my fender and put a big beauty mark on my trailer. And
Yeah.
Oh,
my gosh! But you know what? If I could, real quick, I just got to give a shout out to Ford of Peoria, that dealership.
Nice.
We backed that thing in on that Peterbilt flatbed that Thursday night, dropped in the parking lot, hadn't even talked to them, and they had me rolling at Kim and I rolling home at 10:45 Monday morning. I couldn't even believe it.
man, that's
So
quick.
you guys are out that way. You need a new truck. You need great service, great people. Ford of Peoria. I'm just Illinois. Sorry to suck up any sponsor time there, Michael, but
No,
those
you're
guys
good, brother.
really rocked it out for us.
Hey,
That's awesome.
You got to give credit where credit's due.
That's great.
You know? Did we lose everybody?
That was the quietest it's been.
We go from full speed
Yeah.
to turtle.
Yeah. Turtle.
Turtle.
Oh, okay.
Hey, have
All
you
right.
ever cooked turtle?
Hey, what are you doing?
I want to ask him if he's cooked turtle before.
Okay,
because
all
I've
right.
had turtle.
Did you ask me if I ever cooked turtle?
He is
You
the
know
hunt
I
chef.
cooked turtle.
I've
Come
had
on.
some good turtle.
Come on, get your head out of your bum there, Dave.
Thanks, Dan.
He was looking at buttons that resemble turtles.
Yeah, it's true. All right, go ahead, Mike. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. I was just going to
All
say.
that green button he's got on the green button he's got on there, the monkey's gonna push.
Yep. It
The
actually
monkeys.
has M on there.
I can't with you guys. Hunt Chef, they totally disrespect me.
I do not.
They say they can replace me with a monkey.
Well,
Oh, well.
I don't know what to say about that.
Oh, man.
Yeah, exactly.
I wish I could make like that monkey sound like ooh, but I'm just that's not my thing. Michael, maybe you should make a monkey call.
No. Well, I mean, we probably could.
If you
Hey,
did,
Doug,
I'm
can
sure
you
to
say
call
something
me
real
in.
quick?
Oh, Lord. Yeah, go ahead.
That seat right there. As long as Dave's talking, we got monkey sounds. All right, we better quit.
Okay, let's get on with our wild
Let's get on
flavor
this.
segment. So this tonight is our wild flavor segment. We're bringing it back in. We haven't had one for a while, so, with it being turkey season, waterfowl, Chef said, well, let's don't do a turkey, but let's do duck, because that's what we're leading him into on his show this evening, because you're doing duck, right?
Yep, for sure. But, this recipe, and I'll talk about it tonight, you can do it with really any bird, chicken from the store, turkey coming up here from your spring woods, waterfowl, pheasant, chuckers, quails, just because it's a quote unquote duck recipe for tonight. Don't you be afraid to flip the script a little bit and get you another bird in the skillet or on the grill here. So yeah, we can talk through that.
Nice. So start us out.
Actually, so the nice thing about that, I'm going to utilize this probably this week, because one of the guys that's up here working is a big waterfowler, and he brought some duck for grilling and cooking while we're all out of town. We've been cooking out on the grill about every evening, so
nice.
I'll be paying close attention.
Okay. First time for everything.
That's true.
Thank you.
Get you one, man.
Thank you.
I hear her cackling.
Thank you.
She's doing the Lord's work back here right now, getting us organized for headed out of town to. So we're going to the Palmetto State Outdoorsman Show in Columbia, South Carolina this weekend, and Lance is headed down for the second time to what is it called? Augusta, West Virginia.
Oh yeah,
Augusta, West Virginia. It's a really awesome local community church. Great folks putting on an outdoor event, and they welcomed us back for the second year in a row. Well, they welcomed Lance back anyhow. I don't know if he lost a bunch of money gambling down there, so they want him to come back again, or what the deal is, but they seem to be happy to have us. So we're blessed to be in both those places this weekend.
Nice, good deal. Well, y'all gonna be just as busy as we are then.
Yeah, we're that's how we live, in fast lane, right pedal only, right?
That's right. I know you guys are a lot more on that end than we are, but when it gets going, it gets going.
Sure.
Amen. So you want to talk a little bit about a recipe here, or you want to just make fun of Dan or Monkey Guy, or what do you want to do?
Let's talk duck.
This guy.
All right. So, for all you waterfowlers out there, it's so much more interesting to me than a lot of upland birds and even turkey, because anybody that's ever shucked the hide off a duck, plucked it, skinned it, whatever, however you guys roll at your house, the meat is red, and somebody's driving. You all better be careful and buckle up. So it's poultry, but it's red flesh, right? Whether they're ducks or geese, and that's what makes it so much more interesting for me, because it's not, upland birds, wild turkey. I mean, they're fantastic and delicious. But there's so much along the lines of that chicken, that we, so many of us eat fairly often, whether it's from the store, the coop in the backyard, however you get it. So when you get yourself some waterfowl, there's just so much more going on there. And that red meat, it's denser, it's deeper flavored, it's more full flavored. And a lot of times, especially the breast, you want to treat it like you're going to treat a good steak. And so many people slice it up and they'll make jerky out of it. They'll grind it, make jerky out of it. They'll chunk it up and make kebabs. And those are all fantastic ways to enjoy it. Don't get me wrong. But for a good, clean, harvested waterfowl, whether it be duck or goose, I like to treat that breast just like I would a good steak. And that means you're going to maybe tenderize a little bit with the jacquard, like a hand tenderizer. You have the little steel pins, go over it. You get you a marinade on there. Seasoning, probably a HuntChef seasoning. I would recommend, like tonight, we're going to use my straight out of the bay.
Oh, nice.
Which is my version of like Old Bay meets crab boil, and it goes so good with that waterfowl. And then you cook it hot and fast and leave it medium rare, medium at most, and then you slice it thin after you let it rest and let all the juices kind of relax back through the meat so they're not running all over your cutting board. And that's how we're going to prepare the breast tonight. And then the legs, it's a completely different story, right? So a lot of folks that maybe they've cooked store-bought duck or farm-raised duck or goose, and those legs, they're so much meatier and oftentimes more tender than a wild duck or goose, just because of how they live, what they eat. But on a wild duck or goose, those legs, you gotta give them some love. You gotta take your time. It's like wooing, a new girlfriend. You got to take your time and let it do its thing. So tonight with those legs, what we're going to do is we're going to season them. We're going to brown them lightly in the skillet, but then we're going to go in with some chicken broth, some veggies, and we're going to let them simmer low and slow and get tender. And alongside of those legs in that pan, after we brown them and start that simmer process, is going to be the hearts and the gizzards, and we're going to talk through that, because those are two of me and my granddad's favorite parts of, whether it was turkey, chickens, ducks, geese. Lots of flavor in those organ meats, and a lot of folks aren't always down with that. But I'm telling you right now, you want to taste wild, you want to taste real flavor. That's where you get it from. So we're going to pair those two things up with what I call potato risotto. So risotto is a rice dish that was created by Italian farmers, like over in Italy, in the, what do you call it, the boot, right? So, and farmer meals a lot of times, and especially ones that are as old as something like risotto, it's what poor people ate. It's like so many different recipes here in the States, families that grew up through the Great Depression and stuff, but farmers would make a meal out of rice. And so this particular rice is called arborio. So it's like most people think, oh, it's white rice, it's brown rice, it's jasmine rice. This is called arborio rice, and they're shorter, kind of chunkier grains. And the magic to the dish is that you stir it and stir it and stir it and stir it, and it lets the starch kind of, as the liquid starts to cook and soften the rice, the starch works off the outside and thickens it and makes it really rich and creamy. So if you can imagine, what we're going to use tonight is these small diced potatoes. We're going to brown them up a little bit and then keep stirring and stirring and stirring, and it's going to provide that same starch and that same creaminess. And we're going to finish that up with some cream cheese and some HuntChef seasoning, and then we're going to make a sauce out of some blackberries that will be coming into season here in the States. Shortly after, I guess turkey season's probably over. But if you got some ducks, some turkeys, some geese in the freezer, you might want to pay attention, because wild game, especially waterfowl, loves that sweet fruit flavor to back it up. Okay. And we're going to fortify those blackberries with some honey, some bourbon, which is obviously near and dear to all our hearts.
Yes.
And a little more HuntChef low down and dirty sweet and smoky barbecue rub. And then that's going to really finish that dish out, and it's going to complement the rich creaminess of that potato risotto, but that really bright, brilliant fruit flavor is going to cut through that creaminess and kind of balance it. And I promise you, it's going to be the perfect accompaniment to that cooked waterfowl. So I tried to give you the hammered down version of that recipe. It is going to be lights out on your turkey. If you've got some pheasants in the freezer, it's going to do great there. And then, of course, if you get to the store, get you some chicken, or maybe you go out back and grab one out of the coop. It's going to work just as well for that, too.
Man, that sounds amazing.
Sounds amazing.
So, Chef, we're going to take a break, and we're going to get a word from our sponsors real quick. But when we come back, I want to ask you about the gizzards.
This episode of On the Limb with Nature's Voice Game Calls is brought to you by Trout Routes. Trout Routes is a premier fishing app that strives to empower trout anglers with information to help you go further and discover new waters, new places, and new faces. Check them out at troutroutes.com. Trout Routes is proud to be able to connect you to local resources and experts, such as fly shops, guides, local brands, and nonprofits. Be sure to check them out at troutroutes.com or the Apple App Store and Google Play Store today. Download the app today.
All right, folks, we're back. So, Dan, you going to talk about the gizzards?
We can definitely talk about the gizzards. That's one of my favorite parts on the.
Dan is a gizzard.
I have never fixed the gizzards.
Oh,
So,
I love them.
I've never done it on a turkey.
Neck.
Never done it on a turkey. Never done it on a duck. Never done it on anything. So I'm intrigued. Let's hear it.
Is this my turn to talk?
Yeah,
It's always
you're
your
up.
turn. Absolutely.
I mean, you're the hunt
So,
chef.
you know, the for anybody who doesn't know, on a bird, and pretty much any and every bird, that gizzard, a lot of folks, so everybody's heard, or most folks probably have the saying, you got something stuck in your craw.
Uh-huh.
So the craw is the gizzard on a bird. And a lot of folks don't realize it, but birds, they'll peck little stones, grains of sand, little pieces of rock, and they get it down in their gizzard, in their craw, and then it will sit in there, and it's a really heavy, firm muscle, and it uses those stones to grind up all the seeds and heck, I mean, blades of grass. I mean, the stuff. Anybody that's ever killed a wild turkey or goose and opened that craw up, and the stuff you see in there, a lot of times it can be pretty amazing. But from long blades of grass to seeds, acorns. I mean, any and everything winds up in those things. And that gizzard, it works as like a grinder with those stones. And that's how they, instead of using stomach acid to, or teeth to chew food, they just swallow it pretty much whole, get it down in that gizzard, and then that muscle works those stones and grinds it up, and then it goes on through their stomach, intestines, all the way through their digestive tract. So it's a really deep red tissue muscle, much like the heart, and it's got a really tough lining inside of it that you got to take it off. I usually try and peel it off before I cook them, because it doesn't always smell the best.
Yeah,
if you know what I mean.
That.
So peeling that off ahead of time without losing too much meat is usually how I like to do it. You can for sure brown them, marinate them, simmer them, grill them, smoke them, whatever you're going to do, and then peel it off. But I personally don't care to cook the gizzards with that lining in there. But it's much like a deer shank that you couldn't chew it if you wanted to. It's so tough. But after you treat it right, season it right, brown it up, and then simmer it. And I always go with this moniker. I call it low, slow, and wet. That pot on the stove, that crock pot, that roaster, that slow cooker, simmer it, and it's amazing how tender it comes out without, trying to dry it out and cook it in a like on a grill or something like that, where it's just going to be like a piece of shoe leather. So that's my gizzard 101.
Nice. See, one of my favorite ways. I love fried gizzards.
You got to teach me that.
And to that, so, and that's great you mentioned that, Dan, because and is that mostly chicken gizzards?
Yeah, mostly chicken gizzards.
Okay.
So, and they're almost always, let's call it more tender than a wild bird, or bigger birds. So anybody that's out there that is like you, that loves those fried gizzards, I mean, that's awesome. Those are the cuts that people just don't get. They're like, oh my gosh, it's a chicken gizzard. It's the last thing on planet Earth I ever want to eat. Well, you're silly.
Yeah, you're missing out.
Get your act together. You're missing out.
Yeah.
And eat what the good Lord gives you.
That's right.
That's right. Hey, real quick before we jump into anything else, I'm gonna go ahead and do our salute to Valor for this evening. So this evening we're gonna salute Sergeant First Class Cheryl Kent. Served from May of '85 to January of 2011. 24 years of service.
Dang.
Didn't get a whole lot of information, but obviously with the 24 years career, he was awarded much more than just the Meritorious Service Medal is what they gave us. So
yeah, I think that was.
We didn't get a whole lot of information with that, but definitely want to thank him for their service for this evening, and we appreciate your 24 years of service.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you.
Amen.
Yes, thank you.
So I believe that was husband and wife, wasn't it, Dan?
What's that?
I believe that was a husband and wife that served together, wasn't it?
I'm thinking so. I can't. Yeah, it was. That's right.
Okay.
Yeah, because last week we did Command Sergeant Major Randall Kent's.
Yep. Yeah, so that's what I was looking at, and I was thinking, man, either they met on a base and or met when they got in and served together and got married or something. But that's awesome.
Yeah, because it's funny because both of them got in 1985.
Yeah.
What if they joined together?
They may have.
They may have. Very well.
Well, Chef, I know you only got about 3 minutes and you're getting ready to go on to your show. So just briefly tell some people about what's going on tonight on your show, when it comes on, when they can see it, and then we'll let you go.
Yeah, HuntChef Live almost every Tuesday. We live stream at 7:30 Eastern, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Always cooking wild. Tonight is that duck recipe that we just talked through, and we'll be talking more about that. We're still airing, our TV show Mountaintop Outdoors on the Sportsman Channel, season 4 right now. We've actually started doing recipe segments for another Sportsman Channel show called Fur Life with Brian Flowers as the host. We've already done the raccoon and coyote recipe segments for that. And I got to tell you, they were both good, but that raccoon was out of control.
Really?
Oh my gosh, dude!
I'm about to check that out.
Tim went over the top and saying how good it was. So if that gives you any idea, that's where it's at. And you can find everything we are going on at huntchef.com. All our social handles, YouTube channels rocking. New episodes up there every week, and we're on Carbon TV, Mossio Go, and we have nothing but hammer down. And you know what? It is so good to hang out with you guys. I miss you. I appreciate the opportunity to talk to the Nature's Voice Nation folks here on the Out on a Limb podcast.
Yes, sir.
And I can't tell you how much that HuntChef Nation is behind you guys and supporting you all and your listeners. So thanks for doing what you're doing.
Yeah, well, we appreciate you.
One more thing before we do let you go. You got to tell us about these flamethrowers.
No.
That was actually my last note, but I'm like, I was kind of salesy enough there. But at the NRA show, the Great American Outdoor Show in Harrisburg, PA, back early February, it's a 9-day show, biggest one in the country, 250,000 people go through it. And, I do the demonstrations there and stuff every year. But our neighbors in the booth beside us were exothermic flamethrowers. And these guys are the real deal. They're out of Fort Pierce, Florida. And they have 2 models. The let's call it the big boy and then the underbarrel. The big boy is an awesome handheld unit. The underbarrel can be handheld, but really the best part about it is you can mount it on your Picatinny rail at the bottom of your shotgun or AR. The tanks they have on them, you can burn straight gas, 60-40 gas diesel mix, or 190 proof white lightning liquor.
That's crazy.
And they're pretty special. 25 seconds straight through, full throttle burn time. You want to light the campfire, the grill, the smoker, burn brush, melt the snow off your sidewalk.
Yeah,
you name it.
I heard that's what Kim's gonna do with it. She was like, "I won't ever have to shovel again."
That's awesome.
I mean, they're the real deal.
All right, Chef.
Thanks for bringing that up.
Thanks for coming on, sir. We know you got another show to get to. I'm sure Kim's chomping at the bit. Let's go, Jeremy.
She's over here waving at me.
I know. Let's go. All right. So everybody tune in to the show tonight there on the Hunt Chef page. They're going live on all their social media outlets. TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it. They've got a bunch of them out there, so be sure you check them out. Be sure you check us out on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, and wherever you get your podcasts. We're there. Subscribe, share, listening. We sure appreciate it. Thanks for listening tonight, guys. Y'all have a good evening.
Thanks, guys.
Eat what you kill, people.
There you go. This episode of On the Limb with Nature's Voice Game Calls is brought to you by Backwater Truck Supply, located at 100 Armor Creek Road in Nitro, West Virginia, right across from the Town and Country Supply. Contact them today at 304-610-8699 or check them out at BackwaterTruckSupplyWestVirginia.com. Backwater Truck Supply specializes in accessorying your ride to your liking, new or old. Does your Jeep or truck need lifted or a leveling kit installed? They've got you covered. New tires or minor automotive repairs? They got you covered there as well, with a full-service lift along with a wheel balancing machine. They are affiliates with some of the top brands in the automotive industry. Contact them today at 304-610-8699 or check them out at BackwaterTruckSupplyWestVirginia.com.